how is it that an idea for a story comes and pops into your head and you decide to pursue it? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. In some ways, I think it's a mystery, and then in some ways, I think it can be fairly concrete. So I'll say that there's elements of this story that I think are clearly inspired by people I know or from my own life. The uh, the element of grief, I think, of a young man walking through grief. My best friend lost his mom suddenly when he went away to college within like the first month. And that was walking with him through that experience was, I think, something that was profoundly impactful on me, even though it was kind of secondhand, but seeing his journey. And so it was interesting that when I had the idea pop in my head, I didn't connect it with that. I just thought this is an idea that came out of nowhere. But then as I've reflected on that, I'm like, oh no, like this is probably connected to that thing. Yeah, but you're not always thinking consciously of what's inspired by what. I think, for me, I often have my best thinking when I'm able to just slow down. Like I said, I think I was on vacation. I go to the beach, go camping at the beach for 2 weeks every year, take no laptop. I allow my phone to die. So I don't take a charger. So within the first couple of days, it weans me off of it because it's dead. And then that's that.
That's good. That's a good idea. I should do that.
It's been wonderful for me. I mean, I've been going every year since I was born. So it's just kind of part of my life at this point. But I find that when I can kind of slow down, there's more ideas, which makes me think we have these ideas in us, but we just kind of fill our heads with so much other stuff that we don't give ourselves space and time to kind of percolate with what just pops into our minds at random times. And then I think another part of it is just immersing ourselves in stories throughout our lives, or immersing yourself in music throughout your life. It's everything is kind of combinations of other things, and so each story, as you hear story after story, kind of structure comes in your mind of like the hero's journey. And it's not that every author is thinking like, let me plot the hero's journey, but we've all just kind of been enculturated into a way of telling stories. And I think if you allow yourself to kind of sit with that, when an idea comes, it's like, oh, what if there was this guy, and then what would happen to someone like that? And you just kind of let your mind go. But I don't know fully where the ideas come from. I mean, in some ways I would love to have like a platonic idea of the form of this story is out there somewhere. I have no idea. I do think there's, if we wanted to get theological with it, there is something to the Holy Spirit's work in us of being, the Holy Spirit is such a creative and generative force in the life of the world. I mean, we see God as a creative God. But I'd be lying if I said I had any kind of complete theory of how this works. But I think it's just a wonderful thing to be a part of, and to recognize that it's not solely like all the pieces of our experiences just kind of get jumbled up. It's also not solely like this inspiration from on high. It's a mysterious thing, and I think that's part of what makes it fun.
I agree. And I guess the cool thing is that you don't really have to know how it works for it to work, like you could just start doing it, and then the engine turns on somehow, which is cool.